Hello, 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 and welcome to Love and Bull.
Love and bullshit.
I'm trying to cut down on my swearing. So LBS, it's love and bullshit. And my name is Lerato Aliu.
My name is Thabang Mabogoane.
Yes, and you might be wondering why I'm sitting with Thabang and not Trezo. Thabang is the new co-host of the show. Yay! Trezo unfortunately had to leave the show because he is a content producer, as you probably know. Those who don't know, now you know. And he is really, really swamped with work. So we wish him well. And but we are excited to have Thabang here. He's been a guest on this show before. And if you haven't seen those episodes, you are more than welcome to go back and check him out. So from now on, LBS is Lerato and Thabang. Yeah, we are siblings.
Word.
And we are, I can say, trying to be like ambassadors for, the truth about love and growth within love, as well as all the nonsense that comes with it. So if we can help ourselves, and whilst we're helping ourselves, we can help others, then why not?
Right.
So welcome.
Yo, thanks for having me. LBS team, I'm part of. I knew I'll make it anyways, but I'm here now.
My God.
I'm here now. You know what I mean? No, it's awesome though.
Also, this was your plan?
No, it's just first time I came in here, I just got that feeling like, something.
I could get comfortable here.
It's difficult to change. It's funny,
Yeah, that's actually what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
The change in life. Are we comfortable with it? Are other people comfortable with, when you evolve as a person? And all kinds of goodness in that regard.
Yeah.
I mean, the show is clearly changing. It's going to take a different route. The chemistry between my brother and I is obviously different to the chemistry between Trezo and I. My brother and I know each other very well. So we have to be very careful to not reveal too much.
Yeah, it's not.
But
it's not. We're not at home, on some couch.
But it sort of is.
No,
it sort of is like
sort
that.
of is like those who subscribe are enjoying this on the couch or wherever at work. But I mean, if you don't want to let it, too loose, and we're out here just talking.
That's true. So as he's already mentioned, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and switch on your notifications so that anytime we have a new video, you are on point.
Number one.
Indeedo. So, my dear brother.
What's up? What's up?
How have you been?
COVID free.
Hey, praise the Lord.
Day free.
We're going to dive into that a little later.
Problems free, I think.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, problem free.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
So in the previous episode, Thabang came through and he had mentioned that, he used to be a player before,
I never actually said those
I
words.
know you didn't say those, but I mean, it you implied.
No, what probably happened was, a lot of misguided, youthful actions, which then, come with titles which are not necessarily fitting, but you know what I mean? We'll just work with it as it is. Not a player.
So, my brother was a young man, and he was exercising his youthful rights.
Yeah. Black men don't cheat.
Black people don't cheat. Ding, ding, ding. Anywho, so he had mentioned that he has now changed. He's grown, there are now a few other aspects in his life that he wants to escalate. Let's say that, and that one of them being his love life. And so, we had offered to help him out in that regard and get him a few dates.
Yeah.
And see if he can get his feet wet and see what he likes out there and if the likes are reciprocated. So go ahead and tell us what exactly happened. We organized 2 dates, so go ahead and tell us what happened on the dates.
Well, like firstly, thanks for playing your part, but it's like on the topic of like change, for instance, where I think I'm at is when, and it would be wrong to almost want the rest of the world, everybody else that you interact with, to be moving like how you moving and making decisions like how you making decisions. But like where I'm at, I've gone through real life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through this COVID, space in our life. We're going like a lot of things that are happening almost need you to fall back and, really assess what it is that you want to do. Because, it could be short, it could be long, but it's a touch is a move almost,
Yeah.
And no pressure whatsoever. But at the end of the day, I'd look at it like to say, I wake up every morning and I put on my grind face, and I go do what I have to go do, and it's sort of empty or hollow if you don't have you haven't set up your team correctly,
Okay.
So yeah, went on those dates. Well, try to put together those dates, and I think it was overwhelming for the girls who were going to be on the date, because they also felt like, hold on, what is it about? Is it us just trying to make somebody a celebrity, or feel a little bit better about himself, or whatever the reasoning would be, where they both decided not to pitch up for the dates last minute.
Whoa. Whoa. Don't try to speed through that. Like, oh, they both didn't show up.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying both girls didn't show up. They had their own individual reasons.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. And both of them, I spoke to them prior just to say, look, this is possibly what we're trying to put together, and I hope you'd be willing to share. We are speaking about being honest.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about getting me a girlfriend or whatever. I'm sure there's girls out there in the world that'd be willing. It's not about their willingness. It's about what could work for
like,
all parties involved.
Like, are you a good match?
You know what I mean? Like, those things we take them for granted nowadays, but it's important, because I won't get myself into a relationship that I don't see longevity in right now. And it's kind of bad, because a couple of years ago I was the anti that in a way.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like, okay, hold on. All the things that I've gone through, all like the experiences, like the analyzing some of the how we could have avoided getting to this place, how I could have avoided breaking somebody else's expectations, and all those things. You started having, if you're single for a little bit, you won't necessarily get to the
4 years.
you won't necessarily actually figure it out. You just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So me, I've actually had enough time to be like, okay, cool. No. What do I have to correct with myself?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to invest in another 20-year relationship, and get the least out of it. I want to get the most out of it, and I'd hope whoever I'm with is going to get the most out of the time that they're going to spend with me. So it wouldn't be worth it. It definitely wouldn't be worth it to just make it like for fun. Like, it's not a fun thing. You know what I mean? Fun.
It's a real life thing.
It's a real life thing. Fun. You can have fun, but like when I'm putting my I mean, I felt offended. I felt like all sorts of things, but I had to bring myself back and say, wait, they're entitled to that. You know what I mean? They might not know, or they might not see, that
the change that you've gone through.
Exactly, and like,
because your reputation does precede you. So
and the reputations of their ex-boyfriends and all of every other situation, every other situation that they've been through. I am nobody super special. You know what I'm saying? All I am is like, if we're here and we spend time together. That's really what it is. But no, it was great. It was a great opportunity. I got to learn a lot more about myself, even with that situation where it's like, oh wow, I put in so much effort. Like my ex used to always talk about, like, take me out, picnic, do picnic vibes, make it sexy, do this and do that. And I took it for granted. I just thought, look, man, we're together. And the effort that it took, to put together these dates and also be stood up, it was like, wow, I'm glad that I've been pushed to that level where I'm exploring things that I never would have explored. And actually, I mean, even just sitting there by myself, I was looking over everything and I was like, wow, I put in some really good effort here, and anybody who would, recognize me in my current space would actually understand that I'm not.
You're a different person.
I'm a totally different person. The change, I pick it up. I know where I'm at, and if you knew me before and you want to see the change immediately, you really have to spend time with me. I really don't spend a lot of time with people. I'm like in my space. I'm doing my thing. So those who really do get an opportunity to see that, will probably comment on that. But unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity. To
but
show
somebody
that.
else will. Somebody who. Maybe it's also because the girls you went on dates with are girls who are familiar with the old you, So that's also, it makes it difficult for those kind of people to see any changes that happen in you. I know, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me that really threw me back. Yeah. It almost had me damn near in tears. Wale and I, my husband, and I were invited to a birthday, and we went, and it was a birthday bride we took our son with. And when we got there, there's a girl that I used to work with. Literally, Thabang, when we used to work together, we hardly ever saw each other. We spoke maybe 3 times, and every time we saw each other, she was like always probing, asking me questions like, hey, where you from? Who you dating? Da, da, da. And I was just like, oh, this girl's in my business. And like, when I'm at work, I want to be at work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd be like, oh, I'm single, but I'm going on dates. So she met me at a time when I was single. She never knew me before. She didn't know me even in that space. Oh. And she obviously doesn't know me now. So here I am. I'm at this bride with my husband and my son. And she says to my husband, are you sure that child is yours? Hey.
Wow. What an allegation.
Wow. It threw me because of so many reasons, And then he says, yeah, of course I'm sure. That's definitely my son. Why would you ask? And she says, the way she was running around, I just think you should get a DNA test. Jesus Christ. I was baffled. And it's like you said, when you encounter such, your natural instinct is you hurt, you are angry, even
you want to defend yourself.
You want to, you want to like put your arms up and be like, what? And that's what I used to do before. I used to get real loudmouth with somebody who offends me or whatever the case is. But I realized even in that moment that I had changed and I had grown, because I was like, okay, I managed to calm myself down, bring myself back to center and say, okay, firstly, let me establish the source of this question. This is a girl who doesn't know me from a bar of soap. This girl never even, like, we've never even shared a cup of coffee together. You know what I mean? She is basing her assessment of me from maybe a total of 7 minutes of conversation, right? In the 1 year that I worked at that company. Goodness gracious. If I take this and I get upset and lose my marbles, it makes me look guilty, right? Of what she's accusing me of, basically. And two, I was just like, really? It would be immature of me to even respond to such garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I realized then and there, one, that I have changed. But two, it's so crazy that somebody who knew me for 3 minutes, I guess, right, could have that kind of assessment. I can only imagine what other people who knew me, who really knew me, might think about the change that I have gone through now. You know what I mean? Not saying that I was a hell mess.
Not saying hoes life.
No,
Yeah.
every girl has a whole moment. Okay,
Not every.
but like,
But
I
it's
can
a whole,
imagine.
Yeah.
I even thought about episode 1. You know, that episode 1 we were talking about homosexuality and etc. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, my views on homosexuality a mere 5 years ago have completely changed to what they are today. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
As in for yourself.
For myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I'm sure anybody who saw that episode, who knew me,
Sure.
let's say 7 years ago, was like, look at her acting.
You know.
Ha.
All she wants to do is
just
have all the toys and play with them at the same time. Yeah.
When that's not the case, I have really changed and I have really grown, and you probably won't even recognize it within yourself. There's things that you'll notice,
Sure.
but then there's things that you probably won't even notice. You're like, wow, thank God. You know what I mean? I have really, really grown, and I'm glad I didn't stop my growth.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because there's also that where you could fight the growth.
I feel like you don't stop it. You just slow it down, because it's happening whether you like it or not.
Facts.
You have to adapt to whatever circumstance. I mean, a homeless person, nah, before COVID,
Yeah.
it has totally different survival, instincts, before and after, I think. Because like now you're dealing with the panic of the world, and you're dealing with your own survival. You know what I mean? Nonetheless, like the change, when you go into that change and you find little, spectators or cheerleaders of destruction. You know what I'm saying? Cheerleaders of destruction, where it's like, I mean, you see an obviously positive situation.
Enemies of progress.
Yeah, you see a positive situation, and you basically want to, bring a little bit of fire to it, to say, can I be the first test, to this situation, and like throw out some garbage which could make somebody, if they're not, comfortable in their space. If they're not solid, then they're going to be questioning themselves and questioning the validity of all the things that you've been doing. But I mean, that's just people stuck on what they heard about you, or what they want you to be. Like when I was even in primary school, a lot of girls used to say I was a player, and at that time,
you're in primary school.
I'm in primary school. You know what I mean? I literally lost my virginity after high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so all this time, when people would say I'm a player, I did this and I did that, and it's just
I'm only holding people's hands.
You know, like, take it easy, and until you start saying, but am I really a player? And I just don't. Is this inside me? Is this player shit? Is this player shit inside me?
Let me explore.
No. So like, and it's taken a lot. therapy. It's taken like real situations to say, wait, man, all I have control over is me.
Facts.
And how you going to come at me, and how I react to that, it speaks the difference. The difference is, at this point, if you come at me with some garbage, first of all, I have to ask myself, what am I doing there?
Yeah.
Like, how did I? Where's my crystal? Where's my stones? Where's the bear pork?
I'm wearing my crystals right now.
Can you get some sage going in? Yeah, like. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I saw a meme that said, what? You can sage if you want to, but I'll be back later. So clearly people with negative energy are just like, you know what, I don't care how far you have developed yourself, how much work you put into your self-growth. I'm always here to just tear you down. Remember we had a conversation about how Jesus must have felt, being this one guy who's pulling out all these miracles and, healing the sick, doing all these kinds of things, that people who grew up with him must have been like, man, get out of here. Don't tell me about Jesus.
He used to pee in the bed. He used to pee in the bed. How are we taking him as the Messiah? Come on. You know what I mean?
There must
and he's like, no. My dreams were so real. I was letting that thing go. You guys have a problem. You out here sleeping and also controlling your like sleep, rest, Buffett.
Rest. Like people must have really put him through the works, and it must have taken so much focus, laser focus onto what he needs to achieve, that he's like, I really don't have time for the chitter chatter.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You can say what you want, do what you want, but I'm the son of the Most High, and I'm going to die for y'all folks. You know what I mean? You don't even know. I'm out here achieving things that you will never achieve in your lifetime. You know what I mean? That's amazing, dude. And that's encouragement for me. Like when I read the word and I think about those kind of situations, I'm like, sheesh, I just don't have the time. You can keep all your negative energy back there. I'm so focused on my life right now.
We went out a couple of nights ago, and we just had some random conversation with some guys and it was funny because like how this conversation came about is just people just, I don't know, like, you say certain keywords and people start coming a little bit closer, and then they have a little comment from here, like that. And then we spoke about like commitment and marriage and stuff like that, and you could tell like, guys were hurt. Like there's some guy, every time he spoke, I could see his veins busting in his neck. You know what I mean? Because he was just like, no, I wouldn't advise that you go get married. I wouldn't this and this and that. And I was telling him like, no, I feel like, I'm growing to a point where that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for like nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was just so difficult for them to understand. And they were like, but how's your life now? Are you not enjoying your life? Are you not free? Are you not this and you're not that? And I didn't want to answer too much because I also just don't want to it was general conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, no, I'm not selfish. I'm not a selfish person. So like the things that I do, I need, my daughter's my biggest cheerleader. Nonetheless, like I live my life for her. But it needs to be anchored with somebody who is like a partner, a life, call it whatever you want to call it, but a partner, a same understanding of the journey, whatever it is that we're trying to create together. And if you're doing it now, I feel like you can invest, and it's still within good time. You can invest in somebody. I can meet somebody today, and kick it with them for the next 5 years before we make such a major decision. You know what I mean? Also, just to give it some time, but you have to be willing to invest now. And it's almost like I want to get into like, and this maybe I'm not confident enough to do it. But I was just like, whatever situation, whatever situation it would be, I'd be like, okay, cool. So off the bat, marry me, and then how it would work is that we would work it from backwards or forwards. It's either we're going forward with the plan or we're going backwards. You know what I'm saying?
No, and but you'd have to go backwards because you're starting off with what people think is the end goal, right?
Yeah.
So you would start off with marriage and then say, now let's work our way backwards only to go forwards. Do you understand what I mean? Because you need to then now, you're starting from scratch, like getting to know one another, but you're already within the commitment part of what people are chasing out there.
And the commitment part, at the early stages of a relationship, people don't actually adhere to that too much.
True.
So I feel like if you do, like on the onset, I think you are almost creating a much better foundation for self. And you really have to create that foundation because no one else, you're not going to be in stuck in a relationship and, shooting yourself in the foot by saying like, it could have been, No, there's no could have been nothing. This is what it is. And now work with it, through and through whatever fire you're going to face. Like, but it's either you gave yourself time or you didn't give yourself time and you just jumped into it. When you jump into it, you have less expectations. And most of the time, like, a whole thing gets fucked up over, like, expectations. You expect this guy to do this. You expect this girl to be this way. You know what I mean? I expect you, like...
That's actually a good strategy. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, to say, look, marry me so that you know that the commitment is already at that level. But anything could
anything we face, we're facing together.
And if we face it and you feel like it's not what you signed up for, then we almost go into a negative. But the negative doesn't mean that it can't bounce back. It could sort of level itself out, and if it's still manageable or like enjoyable, because that's the only way we're going to be honoring God. If we're enjoying our space together, if we're enjoying the challenges that we're going to be facing together. And that's me. That's just how I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm looking at change within my life.
I just think relationships will work much better if people treated their relationships the same way they treat their relationships with God. To say, I'm always like God. I always like the decisions that God has taken upon my life. And there are things that I ask God for that still haven't been delivered, right? There's things that God has asked of me, that still haven't been delivered. However, ain't none of us backing out. You know what I mean? And one thing that I think is important in relationships is that even when you're fighting, right, it's so important to understand that fight doesn't mean disrespect. You know what I mean? A fight means this is our chance to grow. So whatever we're fighting about, whatever we're triggered about in that particular space, that's what God wants you to fix in your own personal space. Because you got to figure out, why am I triggered? Yeah. Why am I offended? Is it because of him? Is it because of the way my experiences in life, the way I grew up? You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean, we'll have a fight. I'm out.
Plant a seed in your heart so
out.
That
you know? Yeah, like, you don't throw shit on top of the fight. You just go, no, wait, hold on. Before me and you start to disrespect each other, let's iron out what the issue is so that we can both learn from this particular disagreement. Sure. So I can learn about me and you can learn about me. You can learn about you and I can also learn about you in this particular predicament. Yeah. But I'm proud of you, man. Thank you so much for trying, at least, to go on those days and being vulnerable enough to put yourself out there. Yeah. I know that's not easy. So I'm really, really proud of you.
I think you know.
Yeah, I do know. Hence, I'm saying I'm very proud of you, And thank you to those ladies. We know it wasn't easy for you guys either, and you probably thought, this is some nonsense. But it wasn't. And you know what? I hope those ladies also took this as a learning curve for them, to make them realize that maybe they're not ready for.
Maybe be bold with your decisions. You know,
One, be bold, or two, maybe they need to realize that they're not ready for that level of commitment. Because when you're ready, camera or no camera, what you put yourself out there.
Sure.
You know, so maybe they're just not ready, and they need to figure out why. But either way, we wish everybody well, and we hope you will continue with us on this the new look of the show. You know. And yeah, tell us about your experiences. You know, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. Tell us about your experiences. You know, let us know what other topics you guys would like us to actually even discuss on this show. Maybe things that you have thought of that nobody else has touched on. But in the meantime, we gotta love and leave you guys.
Yeah.
Peace.